Rising tensions in the South China Sea have once again taken center stage as China steps up military patrols while the United States and the Philippines lead one of the largest joint exercises in the region. What is unfolding is not an isolated incident, but part of a broader and intensifying geopolitical contest, one that is drawing in multiple global powers and reshaping the strategic balance in Asia. The latest developments center around the Scarborough Shoal, a strategically vital atoll long contested between China and the Philippines. The shoal lies along key shipping lanes and is surrounded by rich fishing grounds, making it both economically and militarily significant. In recent days, China has carried out what it describes as combat readiness patrols in the waters and airspace surrounding the shoal. These operations come as a direct response to large-scale joint military drills being conducted by the United States, the Philippines, and several allied nations. The timing is critical and deliberate. Chinese military authorities confirmed that naval and air units were deployed in coordinated patrols near the contested waters. According to official statements, these maneuvers are intended to reinforce China's territorial claims and deter what it views as external interference. Such patrols serve as an effective countermeasure to cope with all sorts of rights violation and provocative acts, the Southern Theater Command said, signaling Beijing's firm stance. The message is unmistakable. China is prepared to assert its presence in disputed waters, especially when rival powers conduct military activities nearby. These patrols are not limited to the Navy and Air Force. China's Coast Guard has also carried out what it calls law enforcement patrols in the same area, further tightening its grip and signaling layered control over the region. From Beijing's perspective, these actions are defensive, but for its neighbors and for Washington, they are seen as part of a broader pattern of expanding influence. At the same time, the United States and the Philippines, alongside allies including Japan, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and France, are conducting the annual Balikatan exercises. These drills, running from late April into early May, have grown into the largest in their history. More than 17,000 troops are participating, including a significant number from the United States. The exercises simulate real-world conflict scenarios, including amphibious assaults, coastal defense, missile strikes, and coordinated multinational operations. Advanced systems such as HIMARS rocket launchers and anti-ship missile platforms are being tested, reflecting a clear shift toward high-intensity warfare preparedness. In one notable move, U.S. and Philippine forces deployed a mobile anti-ship missile system in the northern Philippines close to Taiwan. This deployment is widely viewed as a strategic signal aimed at deterring potential aggression in the region. Despite the scale and sophistication of these drills, officials from both countries maintain that the exercises are defensive in nature. At the heart of the situation lies a clash of narratives. China insists that its actions are necessary to defend sovereignty and maintain regional stability. It views the presence of U.S. forces and allied militaries near its claimed waters as a direct challenge. On the other side, the United States and its allies frame their activities as essential to preserving freedom of navigation and upholding international law in one of the world's busiest maritime corridors. The Philippines, caught at the center of this geopolitical contest, has repeatedly emphasized that the drills are not directed at any specific country. Instead, Manila describes them as crucial for national defense and disaster preparedness. Yet the optics tell a different story. Military exercises of this scale, combined with China's assertive patrols, create an atmosphere of escalating tension. The current standoff cannot be understood without looking at the deeper history of the dispute. The Scarborough Shoal has been a flashpoint for years. Both China and the Philippines claim sovereignty over the atoll, and tensions have repeatedly flared over fishing rights, maritime access, and military presence. In 2012, a standoff between Chinese and Philippine vessels led to China gaining effective control of the shoal. Since then, Chinese Coast Guard ships have maintained a near constant presence, often blocking Filipino fishermen from accessing the area. In 2016, an international arbitration tribunal ruled largely in favor of the Philippines, rejecting China's sweeping claims in the South China Sea. Beijing, however, refused to recognize the ruling and has continued to assert its position. While the immediate focus is on Scarborough Shoal, the implications extend far beyond it. The South China Sea is one of the world's most important maritime trade routes, with trillions of dollars in goods passing through it each year. Control over these waters carries immense economic and strategic value. Moreover, the region is closely linked to broader geopolitical issues, including tensions involving Taiwan. The deployment of missile systems and the proximity of military drills to the Taiwan Strait highlight how interconnected these flashpoints have become. For the United States, maintaining a presence in the region is part of a larger strategy to counterbalance China's growing influence. For China, asserting control over nearby waters is seen as essential to national security and regional dominance. One of the most pressing concerns is the risk of unintended escalation. With multiple militaries operating in close proximity, conducting live fire exercises, patrols, and surveillance, the chances of an accident or miscalculation increase significantly. Even a minor incident, such as a collision between vessels or an aerial encounter, could quickly spiral into a larger confrontation. Recent years have already seen numerous close calls, including water cannon incidents, near collisions, and aggressive maneuvers between Chinese and Philippine vessels. The current buildup only heightens those risks. Another key development is the increasing involvement of U.S. allies. Countries like Japan and Australia are playing a more active role in regional security, participating in joint exercises and expanding defense cooperation. Japan's participation in combat-oriented drills marks a significant shift, reflecting its evolving security posture. This growing network of alliances is reshaping the strategic landscape, creating a counterweight to China's influence, but also contributing to a more polarized environment. From Beijing's perspective, the presence of foreign militaries near its claimed territory is a direct provocation. Chinese officials argue that such activities undermine regional stability and interfere in what they consider internal or regional matters. From Washington's standpoint, however, these operations are necessary to ensure that international waters remain open and that no single power can dominate the region. This fundamental disagreement lies at the core of the ongoing tensions. Despite the heightened rhetoric and military activity, the situation remains below the threshold of open conflict. Both sides appear to be carefully calibrating their actions, demonstrating strength without crossing into direct confrontation. This delicate balance has been described by analysts as a managed rivalry, where competition is intense but controlled. However, maintaining that balance becomes increasingly difficult as military activity intensifies. Looking ahead, the situation in the South China Sea is unlikely to cool down anytime soon. China is expected to continue its patrols and presence in disputed areas, reinforcing its claims. The United States and its allies, meanwhile, are likely to expand joint exercises and deepen defense cooperation. For the Philippines, the challenge will be navigating this complex landscape, asserting its sovereignty while managing relations with both China and the United States. The latest developments highlight a region at a critical juncture. China's combat patrols and the large-scale U.S.-Philippines military drills are not isolated events. They are part of a broader strategic contest that is reshaping global power dynamics. Such patrols serve as an effective countermeasure to cope with all sorts of rights violation and provocative acts, the Chinese military stated, encapsulating the assertive tone from Beijing. At the same time, the scale and sophistication of allied exercises underscore a growing determination to counterbalance that assertiveness. For now, the situation remains a tense standoff, one defined by competing claims, military signaling, and fragile restraint. But as activity intensifies and more players enter the arena, the margin for error continues to shrink.